Here's how to find someone for an open relationship. Live a life that you enjoy. Be a complete person. Engage in those activities which have people in them, most activities do. And somewhere along the line, you'll meet someone who is simultaneously hot and cool. And I want you to have a process of having a conversation with them. Number two is I want you to be convicted. Conviction in your belief, knowing what you want, knowing what you like, and knowing what you're looking for is incredibly attractive. This is what builds cults. Number three is I want you to have a process of conversation of opening the relationship, and I want to demonstrate to you what that looks like and sounds like. I want you to pay attention to this video if you are looking for ways to find someone who is open for an open relationship. A structure that you can have. Perhaps you're new to the open relationship idea, and you want to engage with it. And the thing that's hard about it is that the problem with it is that it's completely non-conventional, since most people are taught that monogamy is the standard. It's completely away from the standard, and it's even harder to facilitate it since it takes a lot of maturity. And I'll give you some resources for you to be able to develop your maturity in terms of being in relationships, and especially the maturity it requires to be in an open relationship and being able to attract more people into it. Now also, you could be someone who is already a veteran in an open relationship and you want to find out more ways for you to find someone for an open relationship. So pay attention to this video. Before I go over the training, I'll talk about three things. Number one is I want the mindset that you must have in living your life so that you can be attractive to people who are open for open relationships. Number two is I want to show you how to have conviction, how to develop belief and be able to transfer it, more importantly. And number three is I want to show you a process that you can have so you can open the conversation on open relationships, since it's much harder than you imagine, since it's a non-standard and people don't look at the world in the way that makes sense. And so therefore, if you operate in a world that doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense to you, it's illogical, you appear insane, which is why most people appear insane. But that's because they're operating in a world where 1 equals 0, 0 equals 1, and it doesn't make any sense. So before I go over the training, I want to introduce the sponsor for today's video. Our sponsor for today's video is BlockFi. Think of a savings account, an app on your phone which you can store your US dollars or whatever currency you're using and Bitcoin, and be able to buy Bitcoin with your currency or exchange dollars into Bitcoin and Bitcoin into dollars. And when you store your Bitcoin, you get 6 to 8% interest return on your money, which is an incredibly high amount. They also came out with a credit card that gives you 1.5% cash back in Bitcoin. And you get $250 free money by spending your first $3,000 on a credit card. If you want to sign up for that and apply for that credit card, click the link on the details of this video. Let's begin with the training. And by the way, after the training, the three parts I want to talk about, I'm going to give you a call to action. So stay tuned towards the end of this video. I'll also demonstrate to you what it looks like and what it sounds like to have that conversation with the process that I'll talk about for step number three. Number one is, what is the mindset you must have? The mindset you must have is that when you are a complete person, will other people be attracted to you? And only when you're a complete person, when you are a whole person already, you're not seeking for your better half, or you're not seeking for your other half. You're a whole person looking for another whole person. And this is incredibly important for you to be able to find someone who is open to an open relationship. Why? It's because people who want an open relationship or who is going to be in a successful open relationship are people that are free, people that are mature. And mature people want freedom, because you'll hardly find someone who is simultaneously immature, and well, actually you can find that easily, but someone who loves the essence of there being a free individual who is also immature about their sense of life. Those two things go hand in hand, because I'll put that aside. But people who want to be independent seek to be independent in many ways, and in order for you to become independent, You must be able to rely on yourself. This is say that you are responsible for yourself, and you want to learn the skill sets and the maturity required to be responsible for yourself, as opposed to someone who would rather not be responsible for themselves, who would rather engage in escapism, who would rather do what they're told to do, and not engage in the activity that requires maturity so that they can do the things that makes them successful in life. I'm gonna leave that alone for now, but I want you to be a whole and complete person. Live the life that you enjoy, and as a result, like I said in the previous video, get laid like a rock star as a result. And what that in turn requires is that you engage in those activities. You want to find out for yourself what is it that you want in your life. And when you find out what you like, what you want in your life, I want you to develop a vision for yourself. I'll show you that by the end of this video. But live a life that you like, that you want for yourself, and engage in activities. And most activities that you'll engage in will have people in it, because most activities will have people. Everything you do includes people in your life. Every worthwhile activity in your life, you'll engage with people. And somewhere down the line, you're going to meet someone who is simultaneously hot and cool. You'll find them attractive, yummy, and you like them, you admire them, and you adore them. And you will engage with them. And I want you to engage with them with the other tips that I'm going to provide. So number 2 is how to develop conviction. Conviction is when you are convicted. There are some beliefs. There are beliefs and there are convicted beliefs. There's conviction and there's something you believe. And I'll show you how to get there. So there are beliefs. There are things that you believe. There are some ideas that you are experimenting with, which you maybe believe, but you're not really sure about it. There are things that you believe that you are pretty certain about, and there are things that you believe that you're convicted about. I want to ask you a question. What is something that you absolutely never, ever, ever, ever do? I want you to think for yourself. What is something that you would never, ever, ever do? Would you ever punch a nice old lady? I want to ask you that. Would you ever do that? Now, if you ever say, I would never punch an old lady, even one who is just annoying. But if it's a nice lady, then nice old lady, I would definitely never punch them. So that kind of belief is called conviction. It's something you would never, ever, ever do. It's something you will always do. It's something that you are convicted about, something you believe with an absolute certainty. Now, your gamut of the beliefs that you have run along those lines. Something you're unsure about, something maybe, something perhaps, something you're pretty certain about, something you're certain about, and there's something you're convicted about. You're absolutely sure that is the case. I am absolutely convicted that when I jump, I'm going to land back, whether or not on my own 2 feet. I'm going to land back. When I jump, I'm going to land back. That is something I'm absolutely convicted about, absolutely sure about, and absolutely certain. So I want you to be absolutely convicted in the notion of what you want in your life and what you like and the kind of person that you want. Now, perhaps you need not be so specific as to what type of person you want. You want a blonde, brunette, whatever the case is, Asian, whatever the case is. You don't have to be so specific. Perhaps you could be specific in a way that I would like someone. I would like someone who... So there's someone I want and someone I like. Want and like, there's a specific distinction about it. Want is very specific. I want someone who is blonde, who is 5'7", who is... they speak 2 languages and they have a bachelor's degree at the very least. That is want. That is very specific. Like is something that you would like and not specific. I would like to meet someone who I could have a conversation with about open relationships. I would like to engage with someone who speaks with the intelligence of, at the very least, a 25-year-old. Or I would like someone who is simultaneously cute, sexy, and fun, and someone I can have a conversation with. Or I would like someone who I can engage with a conversation with at the very least 5 minutes. If after 5 minutes I'm still in a conversation with them, I'll take them to bed. That is like. So I want you to have a conviction as to what you want in your life for yourself. What do you have a vision about? And be certain about it, be convicted about it, because this conviction is going to become very attractive. This is how people build cults. When you have absolute belief, all of your belief transfers to the other person. If you want them to be attracted to you, you want to be absolutely convicted, because that conviction will transfer to them, and they will have confidence and conviction in you. Number 3 is I want you to have a process of conversating with them about an open relationship, and I'll show you what that process looks like by the end of this video. But first thing I want you to check out is I want you to go to Amazon.com, and get the book by Ron John, Ronnejohn. The book is called Relationships 101. So you just type in on the search bar Relationships 101 and then Ron John, and you'll find a book. Get that book either on Kindle or the hardcover. Get that book, because that book is a book that I wrote, and it outlines from step 1 to step 10 the process in which you have to go through in your mind to absolutely be convicted that an open relationship is the thing that works. And once you develop this belief for yourself, the simple thing you have to do is to mirror that process that I talked about in the book, and mirror it to them, be able to communicate that to them in that same step-by-step process that I talked about in the book, and be able to communicate it with them, or give them the book if you want. And this will open their mind. This will open to anybody's mind, because most people are already open and already recognize an open relationship is the only thing that can facilitate unconditional love, except they haven't had the paradigm set to be able to accept it, to be able to practice it. So do that. That is a process that you must take. Now, what does the process look like, and what does it sound like? I'll show you. I'll demonstrate it to you. The process must be, you must ask them, well, let me just demonstrate it to you, and I'll show you, and I'll give you the process. When I communicate with someone about an open relationship, they're someone I find simultaneously cute, yummy, fun, intelligent, someone I can have a conversation with, and someone I like and admire and adore, I open the conversation. I just conversate normally, and then if I want to talk about open relationships, I just ask them the question, isn't it interesting that women are one of the only mammals in the world that like to have sex all year round, and not only in the mating season? Did you know that? Let me ask you a question. I have this idea that I've read somewhere, or I've heard somewhere. There are only 2 kinds of women who have sex in this world. Do you want to know what they are? There are women. I want to ask you the question. One woman, on one hand, is a woman who has sex for her own reasons. And she has sex for her own reasons, and perhaps that reason could be that she finds him yummy, she finds him fun, maybe she is just bored, maybe she wants to have sex, and she doesn't want the relationships that come with it, and she doesn't want the baggage that comes with it. She just wants to have sex for whatever reason it is. Maybe she's traveling, and she doesn't want the relationship. Maybe she's a high-level CEO of a company, doesn't want a relationship, and she doesn't want the strings attached with sleeping with someone. What do you call a woman who has sex for her own reasons? And then she will inevitably give me a word. She'll give, most of the time, the word is slut. And isn't that funny that people call someone who does things for their own reasons a nasty, evil 4-letter word? And so then what do you call someone who only has sex in exchange for something? And they will inevitably give me a word. So I'll go into that. And this is not a word that I give them. I don't say that these people are sluts. I think people who make their own decisions for their own reasons without anything in return is absolutely amazing. Absolutely. It's not a word I give them, it's what society calls them. And it's absolutely crazy and insane. So what then do you call someone who only has sex for value? Who only has sex for something in return? And then inevitably, most of the time, the girls that I ask, they give me a word, a prostitute, and I say, yeah, only there's a society looks at them in a couple of levels. There's a high level and a low level. Low level is someone who maybe has sex for society calls them this, has sex for money, has sex for only for value. Maybe the guy paid for his her trip to Cancun. Maybe the guy bought her a house, bought her a car, pays for her insurance, pays for her schooling, whatever the case is. Society deems her as a low level. And then there's this other person that only provides sex for value, who society deems as a high level prostitute, and a high level and an admirable individual. And they say, and this person, society says, is someone who you should strive to be. And society says, this is someone who will only have sex in exchange for a lifetime provision of security. Security for her and her offspring. And she will only have sex with him, at least publicly. She will only exchange that sex with him in exchange for that security, at the very least publicly. What is the nasty, evil four-letter word for this person? And some people will actually get it. They call her a wife. And this is not me saying that wives or prostitutes, I have lots of friends who are prostitutes, or sluts, I have lots of friends who are sluts. I have lots of friends who are wives. I'm not to say that these people are nasty, evil, and heinous. I'm saying that society divides these people into two kinds. People who make their own decisions, who have sex for their own reasons, without wanting for the strings attached, without wanting for any relationship. Society calls them that nasty, evil four-letter word, slut. They call them bad people. And then they call the other people that only has sex for value as good and admirable and someone who should strive to be. Isn't it interesting that society divides women in these two ways, and there's really only those two kinds? Someone who makes their own decisions, has sex for no value in return, and someone who only has sex for value. Isn't that crazy? Well, did you know that and then I begin with that, and that opens their mind. I'm going to end it there, because I want you to get the book, because I go over more about how relationships have evolved to be, and how honeymoon have evolved to be, and how marriage have come to be, and what's the evolutionary psychology reasoning as to why marriage was required because of ownership. When we discovered the concept ownership at the advent of agriculture 10,000 years ago, when we discovered agriculture, land, farming, tilling the land, and ranching, we discovered the idea of ownership, and we needed to own the women so we can make sure that our offspring the men had to make sure that their offspring were their own. So they created these rules, like it began with harems, and then harem guards, eunuchs, people with their dicks cut off so they can guard the wives of the harem owner. And then we evolved to chastity belts, and then we evolved to monogamy. We evolved to the notion that we may not be able to punish you while you're alive, but when you're dead, you're really going to get it in terrifying ways. If you don't follow the rules, the 10 commandments, being the last 2 of the 10 rules are, you shouldn't cheat on your husband, and you shouldn't mess with your other people's property. And so that's how marriage have come to be. But anyways, read the book Relationships 101 by Ron John on Amazon, so you can really have a process for you to be able to communicate that. All I'm saying is that you want to have a process to be able to communicate an open relationship and become consistent about that process. And that is the best way that I've found to be able to open anyone's mind to something they already recognize for themselves, and for something so they can truly consider what an unconditional love relationship is. So now that I've shown you what it looks like, I want to give you some call to action. But before that, I really want you to visit a couple of resources. Number one, I talk to you about the book. Number two, I want you to visit the sponsor of this video, BlockFi, a savings account where you can store your Bitcoin, and you can buy Bitcoin with your dollars, or you could exchange your Bitcoin into dollars, and you can even borrow against your Bitcoin. And they have a credit card, 1.5% cash back, and $250 after spending a certain amount of money on your credit card. Check that out on my link below. And the last thing I want you to check out is greatrelationshipsu.com, the letter U. It's 21 plus hours of on-demand video training that you can learn how to have psychological enlightenment, social dynamic skills, relationships management skills, and communication skills. There's 21 plus hours of video training on that. Go to greatrelationshipsu.com. So what is the call to action I want you to do? I want you to create, maybe even outline and write, what is the vision that you have for yourself? What do you want in your life? What kind of person do you want to attract in your life? What kind of activity, what kind of a business, what kind of career do you want in your life? When you develop this certainty, when you develop this whole identity for yourself, will you be able to attract people whole to you? Have conviction. Read the book and really have conviction, really have absolute certain belief about what you want, which is an open relationship, and that will transfer to the other person. And number three, develop a process. Perhaps the process could be as simple as, hey, what do you think about an open relationship? Well, I'm into an open relationship, and I have a couple of rules. I want to share them with you. You want to hear them? My rule number one is I will never be any woman's only male sex partner, or any gender sex partner. That ensures that I will never be taken for granted, that when you are with me because you want to be every single time. My rule number two is just the inevitable outcome of rule number one, that you must never become jealous of my other friends whom I'm sexual with. It doesn't mean that you have to get along with them if you don't want to, but I would encourage and insist you get along with them, perhaps in a loving way, perhaps in a friendly way, or perhaps even in a sexual way. It could be that, or your process could be as convoluted and complicated as opening their mind and enlightening them on open relationships, or your process could be, I forgot the other way to be able to do it. Your process could be, hey, are you into girls? Let's go meet some. Since all women are bi from the waist up, women, like pretty people. Women are soft and they're warm and they're attractive. They're beautiful. They smell good. They have nice boobies. So all women are bi from the waist up. They like other women because they're attractive. Some women don't want to go below the belt. Some women require a man to hold on to while they go below the belt, and some women will love other women. So that is my call to action for you today. What is your questions? What are your thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, like this video and share this video. I know you found some value in this video. If you've watched this long enough, then you appreciate the knowledge that I'm communicating with you for free. And the way that you can, if you're asking, how can I pay you back in return, or how can I support your business, all you have to do is check out the resources that I provided, or at the very least like this video. It improves the algorithm for myself and this channel, and share this video with other people that might find value in it. And if you haven't already, subscribed to my channel. I do a video every day. I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.